I made my way towards the boys' locker room, my eyes darting from side to side, paranoia on the rise. As I near the entrance, I feel my gut churning. Unable to hold it any longer, I rush to the bathroom, throwing up. After washing my sweat-drenched face, I look up. This is such a bad idea. I check once again to make sure my disguise is working, the face goatee and stubble still in place. In small steps, I enter the locker room. My eyes move from guy to guy before settling on a single guy. I couldn't help but sigh. He's just so perfect. I shook my dreamy expression off. That's why this is so important. I gaze around and see my friend George looking at me. He nodded. Together, we came up with this plan. For me to disguise as a guy and enter the guys' locker room. George kept insisting that my boyfriend was cheating on me with Giselle, saying that basically every time after gym class, he'd spend a good 5 minutes bragging about how Giselle and I were clueless and how long this had been going on. Now, here I am, in the boys' locker room disguised as a boy. Already, I feel like ripping off everything and making a run for it out of here, but I have to know. All the boys are half-dressed with towels wrapped around their lower halves. Seeing me, Charles's best friend Anthony says, "Who the heck are you?" Lowering my voice an octave, I tell him I am a new exchange student from Brazil. My boyfriend Charles seems to brighten at seeing me. Thinking that he recognizes me, I panic and make for the door. But my friend George stops me, and I remember why I am here. I apologize to the others and explain that I thought I had forgotten something. Charles is eyeing me oddly, but I think he's actually buying my disguise. Now we go into the gymnasium with everyone for gym class. I quickly realize another problem. The gym teacher, Miss Luna, doesn't know anything about a new student. George and I go to try and make her believe that I'm an exchange student who hasn't been added to the class list yet. She still seems uncertain, eyeing me suspiciously. She even tries calling the principal to confirm our story, but luckily, he doesn't pick up his phone. I'm beginning to realize how crazy this idea is. Miss Luna finally allows me to play volleyball with everyone else, but warns me that she'll be watching me with a menacing glare. I gulp and go to join the others. Everyone is already in position to play on either side of the net. It's my turn to serve. When I do, the ball goes way off the court. People laugh, and Charles tells me that I serve like an inept girl. I can only gape at him in response. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Charles always seemed like the sweetest man alive, to myself and others. Maybe he just dislikes this new kid? The rest of the game, I try to keep a low profile. I'm actually really good at volleyball, but I'm worried if I show off my skills, my boyfriend will recognize me. He did go to a lot of my volleyball team's games over the past few weeks. I'm determined not to get caught yet. I still have to go into the locker room and find out what Charles has been saying about me to the other guys. Finally, the game is over, and we return to the locker room. Despite my efforts, I wasn't able to fully disguise my volleyball skills. And it's majorly thanks to me that my team won the game. Charles and some of the others are glaring at me with jealousy. Once we are back in the locker room, everyone starts taking off their shirts and changing. I have to keep my eyes to myself to stop myself from admiring all their toned physiques. Charles's best friend, Anthony, asks me why I'm just standing around. I excuse myself to the bathroom. Inside, I try to calm myself down. I have no change of clothes or anything. I really didn't think this through. I'm sure that I'm going to give myself away. George comes to visit me. He brings me a change of clothes and reassures me that I only have to make this work for a few more minutes. Charles is bound to start his bragging any minute now. After George leaves, I quickly change and hurry back to join the others. Charles grudgingly admits that I did a good job at volleyball. I smile, but then duck my head away. I don't want him to see me too closely or recognize my smile, even though he must think that this new guy is acting like a weirdo. I sneeze and my hand goes to my mouth, coming away with some of my fake stubble. I groan, but luckily, Charles is too busy admiring his reflection in the mirror to notice, while the others are busy getting changed. I pretend to lean over and retie my shoelace. Charles asks me if I want some advice on girls. Knowing that this may be it, my heart skips a beat, and smiling, I tell him that I do. Charles takes out his phone and tells me that for girls, the more's the merrier. Take him, for instance. He has 2 girlfriends, and they don't have a clue about each other. One of them, Patricia, is even a little crazy, but he's been getting away with two-timing her and Giselle for weeks. I laugh in his face. This must be some kind of joke. I'm Patricia, and I'm certainly not at all crazy. No way would Charles cheat on me, especially not with Giselle, the stupidest girl in our school. But Charles gets angry and grabs me, telling me that I have bony girl arms. He shows me 2 pictures on his phone, one of me and him holding each other, and another of him and Giselle kissing. Something in me snaps. I rip myself free and tell him that the first girl looks like a nice girl and that he is scum. He gets mad and lunges for me, the other boys cheering. I punch him in the face. He falls to the ground and starts moaning. Good thing I'm a whiz at Krav Maga. It's dead silent in the room. All the other boys are staring at me. I have to get away. No way do I want to get caught and prove Charles right that I'm a little crazy. I make a run for it, but slip and fall on my butt on the slippery floor. Charles scrambles up and after me, and the other boys move to block my way. This is my worst nightmare. If I get found out, I will never live this down. I try to back away, but there is nowhere to go. Suddenly, George says, "What's that in the shower?" With the boys wheeling around to look in the shower and distracted, I make a run for it. Outside in the school hallway, I run as fast as I can. I pass Giselle and yell to her that Charles is going out with her and me at the same time. She gets confused and asks, "Who are you?" I remember that I'm still disguised as a boy and keep on running. I almost run right into Miss Luna and the principal, who she must have got because she was suspicious of me. They order me to stop and I run in the opposite direction. As I pass the locker room door again, I can see the boys coming out, including Charles and his friends. Seeing me, they start to rush after me. I need to get to the exit and get out of here. The bell rings and students come out of the classrooms and fill the hallways. I groan. There's no way to go fast now. I quickly duck into the nearby classroom, hoping that I won't be seen. Inside, there's a miserable-looking janitor sitting on a chair with a mop in his hand. Seeing me, he stands up. He asks me not to tell on him for slacking off. I agree not to, but ask him what's the matter. I really should hide into the closet in the back of the room, but I want to put it off as long as possible since I get scared in confined places. The janitor makes me promise not to tell anyone. I promise. He then tells me that his toupee is falling off and that he's completely bald underneath. He was teased by his ex-wife about being bald, so he's very self-conscious about it. He also tells me that he's bored by his job and wants a bit of excitement, even just for a day. I get an idea. I tell the janitor my situation and suggest that we switch disguises. Without my fake goatee and wig, and with the janitor's uniform and toupee, hopefully I can escape the school unnoticed. The janitor thinks the idea is funny and agrees. We switch disguises. Just then, there is furious knocking on the door. In marches Charles, the principal, and Miss Luna, all looking furious. The janitor looks at them, says, "Oh no!" and runs for the window. Luckily, we are on the first floor, so he is able to open the window and jump out and run off, whooping as he does so. "Get him!" yells Charles, and he goes to follow him out the window, while Miss Luna and the principal rush out of the room. Now alone, I wait a few seconds before leaving. Now I have to get out of the school. If they catch the janitor and he gives me away, I could still get caught. Outside, I run into George. He asks me if I've seen a guy with a goatee, and I laugh at him. I whisper and tell him that it's me. He is very relieved to see me. Together, we shove our way through the students milling around, rushing through them as fast as we can. Some students got angry and yelled after us. One even swore he'll get me fired for this. Finally, we reach the school exit. Once we get outside, check to make sure that no one is around, change back into my normal clothes. I breathe a sigh of relief. It looks like I've actually gotten away with everything, but I feel bad for the janitor who helped me. I want to return his toupee, too. I'm also crying because my perfect boyfriend, Charles, is anything but. I sink onto the grass, not caring who sees me now. George tells me to cheer up, that Charles is a jerk anyway. I realize that he's right, as well as the best way to make myself feel better. Get revenge. George and I quickly come up with a rescue and revenge plan. George and I go back to school. Everyone is talking about the crazy goatee guy who punched Charles and was chased through the school. Miss Luna is back too, and seeing us, starts hurrying towards us, glaring at us ominously. We head straight for the principal's office. Inside is Charles's rich father, who is threatening to sue the school if they don't find the goatee man and expel me. Charles has clearly told him some kind of lie and won't even look at me. I get out my phone and show it to the principal. He is shocked and left speechless. When Charles's father demands to know what is going on, I show it to him too. He can't believe what he sees. Evidence that his son is a criminal. Charles goes white in the face and demands to know what's going on. I show him it too. A screenshot of the test answers he has been selling to other students. Charles gasps and asks me when and why. I tell him that I took the screenshot last week after trying to convince him to stop doing it, even though he cited the reason as wanting to take me on a luxury vacation. Charles grabs my phone and makes a run for it. Everyone just watches him go. Even the principal secretly wants him to escape since his father donates so much money to the school. George and I rush after Charles, but we don't have to run far. Charles runs straight into the janitor, who came back too. The adults rush after us. I grab for my phone, but Charles throws it. It smashes onto the hard floor. Even though it's clearly broken, I grab the remains of my phone and tuck it into my bag. I laugh at Charles, telling him that all my data is backed up, including that incriminating photo. The principal looks at the janitor suspiciously and asks if he's the janitor people were complaining about. Francis tells him that he's been at McDonald's for lunch and has the receipt to prove it. The principal tells us all to go into his office since he doesn't want to cause a scene. Inside his office, the principal tells Charles that George and I won't be punished and that he's being suspended. Charles's father gets furious and begins throwing things and threatening to shut the school down. He's sure that the evidence against Charles is fake. Charles maintains his innocence and throws things too. Everyone leaves in the pandemonium, including Charles's father, swearing that this school will pay. But my revenge isn't complete yet, especially not after Charles destroyed my new phone. George and I sneak back into the now empty office. I access my Google Drive files on George's phone and start to play one audio file over the loudspeaker. A weepy song Charles made for me the one time I did try to break up with him. On the loudspeaker, Charles's teary voice declares his undying love for me, how he'd do anything for me, absolutely anything. He sobs a bit, then tells me he's nothing without me, life is nothing for him without me, that he hates everyone in the school and feels like a slug, a horrid little slug, without me. After George and I sneak out, the hallways are dead silent. Seconds later, the school erupts in laughter. A few paces away, Charles's father leaves with disgust, while Charles has sunk to his knees. Giselle stalks by and screeches at him that it's over. Seeing me, Charles hisses that this is all my fault. I tell him that it's his own fault for cheating on me and bragging about it, then stealing test answers at school too. Students walk by and laugh at Charles, who insults them. Charles's old friends pretend not to see him. As I walk away, Charles snivels after me, asking if this is it. I tell him, sorry, my horrid little slug, but it is. As we walk away, George and I chuckle. To think this was the guy I disguised myself as a boy to get into the boys' locker room for.